I mean, old Tommy B's got some nice wooden furniture there. I'm a big fan of wood. Oh, we're live. How are we doing? How are we doing? Money Talks. Now, we're going to be doing this every last Tuesday of the month. We may swing in a little bonus special throughout mid-month if something crazy or something bonkers is going on in the mortgage market. However, let's see how we get. If you have any questions, I'm going to turn the comments on here. If you have any questions about anything mortgage related, to be fair, anything property related, please do put it in the comments. And Ellen and I and our lovely mortgage advisor, Thomas Brown from Partners Financial Services, will answer them live and direct. If we're not live, please still put them in the comments or DM any of us. We're all open to some messages. Right, let's start. Tommy B, as we call him, our nickname, our personal broker. How are you, sir? How is life?
Yeah,
What's going on?
All
What's
good.
new with you?
All good. We've had a little hiatus, haven't we, over the past couple of months? We've all been very, very busy. It's been all change over the last couple of months or so. So certainly a lot to catch up on. But all good. And the fact that we're all busy is good news.
I think I have to say, the start of this year, and give us your opinion actually on this, Tommy. The start of this year has been absolutely bonkers for us, Bella and I.
Yeah,
like we haven't literally had the chance to blink. It's crazy. So, I mean, talk us through sort of your side, just your sentiment on how you felt the first 3 months of this year was, almost 4 months, and how you feel the next chunk of this year is going to be.
If I was going to describe it in a word, it would probably be relentless.
Fair comment.
Shows absolutely no sign of stopping, and doesn't look like it will anytime soon. We all know that there are just an incredible excess number of buyers out there for every single house. And whilst there is that sort of inequality, there's just going to be no sign of slowdown, is there? Like, you know, we speak often about houses you've got coming on, open houses you guys are doing. You know, on a weekend, you've got 10 or 12 different people booked in. I spoke to a buyer that he's looking at the moment. He went to view a house through another agent a couple of weekends ago. They had 100 viewings booked in on that day. He had a 10-minute slot.
How is that even possible?
He had a 10-minute slot to view with 9 other people on the same time. And he said his comment at the end was he couldn't find his shoes.
Oh, no.
So, yeah, relentless is the word I would use. Shows no sign of stopping. We'll come on to rates, etc. shortly. We all know that rates have gone through the absolute ceiling since the start of the year. But that doesn't really seem to have put people off. You know, people are still buying. And I think with these kind of things, it costs what it costs. You know, whether the mortgage is 0.5% or 2.5%, people want to move. So it is what it is. So they'll just pay what you pay.
That's a really interesting thing to say, because obviously with what's going on with the current climate of cost of living, mortgage rates are increasing, but they are still considerably cheap when you're looking at
absolutely relatively. So if you speak to people in the, you know, from the older generation where, you know, mortgage rates were 10, 15%, it's not unheard of. So rates are still relatively extremely low, just not maybe where they've been over the past 2 or 3 years or so in the pandemic. So have increased, but like you say, still relatively low in the grand scheme of things.
I mean, let's touch on that, because this is an interesting topic, because a lot of people are talking about rates, they're increasing. Will a crash happen? I mean, crash is quite a devastating, prominent word, and it's quite a chunky word.
Sanjay, sorry to interrupt. This is probably the same people that were predicting a crash at the end of the stamp duty holiday, and, you know, in the new year, in the summer. There's been a crash coming for the last 2 years, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. What's your thoughts on that, Ellen? Because we talking about this? We were talking about this earlier, actually.
Yeah, we were. It's like you said, the people who are talking about this inevitable crash are the ones that are sat in rented, waiting to buy at this crash, and they are going to be spending a lot more money in rented, waiting for that to happen. I think we're going to plateau price-wise, as you were already sort of starting to see.
Interesting.
But I don't think there's a cliff edge that we're going to dive off anytime soon.
I mean, it's not just like they talk about the boom, right, or the bubble. It's like it's a solid projection straight up within 24 hours. It's not going to be like that. A crash.
Like,
I
where
mean,
are all
I
these
don't know.
buyers
It's
going to
definitely
go? Like, all these, they're not just going to disappear.
Exactly. See, it's a very good point. It's a very good point. So just to touch back on the rates. Now, we were talking earlier, myself and Ellen, December or November, December, we were looking sub 1%, weren't we, for the headline rates? The reality is most of the people out there didn't actually get a headline rate due to their own personal circumstances. But what we're talking now, what are they at leveling now? So if you were speaking to a buyer and they were like, right, okay, what's the best deal you can get me, the best rate? Not the headline rate. We don't care about that. The best rate.
So less than 1%, you got no chance. You missed the boat, I'm afraid. I think nowadays, at the current climate, you're pretty happy under 2%. Under 2%, you're laughing. We're at a really strange time at the moment where 5-year fixed rates seem to be priced the same, if not even a little bit cheaper than 2-year rates. And in 11 years of mortgage advising, I can't remember a time where they've even been close, let alone 5-year deals are cheaper than 2-year deals. We went through a period a couple of weeks ago, or maybe 3-4 weeks ago, where a lot of mainstream lenders completely withdrew all of their 2-year fixed rates and were only offering longer term deals as a bit of a knee-jerk reaction. They seem to be back now, but they're really, really equivalently priced 2 years and 5 years, which is a really strange thought. If the situation's right, why would you not fix in for 3 extra years if it's going to cost you the same amount of money per month? So yeah, I think anything under 2% is a really, really good rate. I did a remortgage for a client in September, October time. Yeah, 5-year fixed rate at 0.99, 25% equity. Did a mortgage application this morning, 25% deposit, 5-year fixed rate, 2.69, I think was the rate we got. So crazy.
What are we talking though in monetary value for the difference of 0.99 to 2.09 for the same sort of deal?
It's a difficult question, Sanjay, because it depends on the amount of the mortgage and it depends on the term. So no two situations are the same, because the term has a much bigger impact on the monthly payment than it does the rate. So if you're paying the mortgage back over a 20-year term rather than a 35-year term, that's going to make the mortgage payment a lot more expensive rather than a rate of 1% versus 3%. So it's the term and the mortgage amount that affects the monthly payment more than the rate itself.
Was it you or was it not you that sent for a 15-year fixed term deal?
Yeah, they're around.
Is that normal?
They're around. Habito, a fairly new lender, have launched almost a fixed for life product. It's like a 25-year fixed rate. So almost like fixed for as long as you're living there, for as long as you want the mortgage for. The demand at the moment is limited. People are definitely taking longer term fixes. I would say categorically over the last 3-4 months this year, I've probably done 2 to 1 the amount of 5-year fixes versus 2-year fixed rates, if not more. So the demand is much stronger than it's ever been for longer term fixed rates. You touched on cost of living, fuel, bills, etc., all going up, and people more than ever want to know that their most important outgoing is fixed, because let's face it, if you can only pay one bill, you're going to pay the mortgage, and people just want to know that important outgoing is set at an affordable level.
Interesting. I think just on that, the 25-year fixed term, if, for example, situations changed in 3 years' time and you're fixed in for another 22 years, quick math, Sanjay, well done. What's the early repayment fee on something like that, or how does it work?
So again, they can be flexible. It depends lender to lender. So you can come out of them, you can port them, you can take them with you. So it's just very important to discuss your individual circumstances and whether that's right for you. So, whilst that sounds great on paper, a 25-year fixed rate, if it's at 8% and you're only going to live there 3 years, well, it's probably not going to be the right thing for you. So it's very, very much matching the right product to the right person, which is, hey, that's what we do, right?
Exactly that. Ellen, we had a scenario with one of our buyers that mortgage offer was about to run out in one of our chains. Do you want to explain that and then try and get sort of Tommy B's views on that? Because it's happening quite a lot with obviously chains delaying and stuff like that.
Absolutely. It's a bit of a catch-22 at the moment for buyers. When you finally get an offer accepted on a house and the sellers need to find somewhere. Now, as a buyer at the bottom of the chain, you can't sit there and do nothing, because the chances of that seller then finding somewhere with a chain that isn't progressed, no mortgage offers, slim to none. So they kind of have to take a leap of faith. And we'd got to the point our chain is closed, but the mortgage offer expires officially, Friday, I think it is. But we've got Tom as the broker. He knows the ins and outs, and there is a 2-week extension we can get as long as so many other boxes are ticked, that we've managed to make it work, make it happen, get it over the line.
Yeah, it's a difficult situation, isn't it? Like you say, when you're the first link in the chain, when you're the buyer at the bottom, you're normally first time buyer. You're excited. You want to get all your ducks lined up. You want to get your mortgage underway. You want to get going, and like you say, you're definitely expected to get going. But the situation we're at the moment is, as you get further up the chain, people just are taking longer and longer and longer to find because of the amount of buyers out there. And this situation, for example, she had her offer accepted back in early October, if I remember correctly. Excuse me. Obviously, we did the mortgage application. It's now, we've just squeaked it through before the offer expires by getting a little 2-week grace period at the end of the offer. But funny enough, I spoke to this buyer this afternoon for a little catch up to make sure how things are going. And I said, if we hadn't have made this, we were probably looking at a 0.7, 0.8% increase in our fixed rate, like for like. She was looking at 3 figures extra per month. It's not her fault. If she'd have moved in the day after her offer was accepted, she'd have been chuffed. It's not her fault. It's taken 6.5 months for everyone in the chain to get ready. And I think that is something to be aware of, that all mortgage lenders have different rules on extending your mortgage offer. So in general, mortgage offers will be valid for 6 months from the date they're issued. Some lenders will do it 6 months from the date you apply, which gives you a short time.
That's interesting.
Some lenders will give you up to a fixed date. So if you were to apply today, for example, you might get until the 30th or the 31st of October, whatever happens. So you might get 6 months to a set date. All lenders do it differently, and all lenders have different rules on what you can and can't do. So some lenders will let you extend, some lenders won't let you extend, some lenders will let you keep your rate, some lenders make you choose a new rate. And obviously, if rates have gone up significantly, as they had in this situation, you're looking at extra 3 digits per month at no fault of your own.
Yeah.
So it's just really important to understand what happens if your offer expires and exactly where you stand, and exploring all options to make sure that everything's covered off.
Yeah. This is why one of the main reasons is to have a broker like yourself. I'm not plugging you or anything, but just brokers in general, because you guys are the ones that will be able to advise buyers of this right from the outset. Because especially if you're a first time buyer and you haven't done this before, or even a first time seller, if you've not done this before, to have someone that can help guide you and just give you the actual blunt facts as to what will happen and the repercussions if it doesn't happen within 6 months. I think that's a really interesting point.
Yeah, I'll just give you another story whilst we're on the topic. Got a really nice lady buying a new build flat in London, in Tooting. And so she reserved the property about September, October last year, for completion at the end of March. Offer expired at the end of March. It was really close. By this lender's website that we had to use for one reason or another, it says on their website categorically they will not extend mortgage offers. You need to reapply, new valuation, new application, etc., etc. But again, it all goes down to contacts and who you know. So just managed to speak to someone at this lender, get about a 4-week extension, and that was enough for her to be able to complete and move in. So yeah, it's massive to be able to know what you can and can't do with some lenders, and just being able to press someone a little bit to be able to maybe get something that's a little bit outside the rules if needs be, because yeah, obviously, you know, if you ring up Halifax, they're going to laugh at you.
It's all about who you know, right?
Yeah, it is. It is all about who you know. And I made a career out of it's all about who you know, not what you know.
I love that. I love that. Right. Let's talk a big hot topic at the moment, because I'm speaking to a few investors now. They've been telling me that they are seemingly trying to get mortgages, and the deals they're getting for a buy to let under a limited company. Got one going through at the moment. And they said it was better for them to purchase through their limited company for the investment, for the buy to let, rather than go for a normal residential mortgage. What's your view on this, and what's your sort of initial advice if an investor approached you and asked you that?
I think it's well known that the tax advantages of buy to let aren't once what they were. So historically, you could always offset a lot more against your profit than you can now. And if I'm not mistaken, the full changes have come in now or are coming in over the next 12 months. That was tiered over a long period of time. So I think the benefits are dwindling away. The most important thing is to get advice, not from me, but about tax from an accountant or a tax advisor, because the whole point of purchasing through a limited company is tax, right? If you're a higher rate taxpayer, you don't want to pay 40% on your profit from your rental income, because that's going to, well, what's the point? It's going to eat up all the profit that you're making from the property. So if you're able to put it through a limited company and not pay 40% tax on that rental income, then that's great. So to get advice on that, I think, is key. You know, the rates are higher for limited company buy-to-let mortgages. So, you know, you're looking at 3%, let's say, for example, versus maybe low 2s, maybe even 2% for a private buyer, for example. So you've got to weigh up the pros and cons of, yes, I'm going to be paying more mortgage interest. Yes, there might be a higher arrangement fee, but I'm going to save X amount in tax over the long term. And that's a really, really important conversation to have, to make sure that you understand the advantages and disadvantages. Because just like speaking to a mortgage advisor about what advice or what to do correctly on the mortgage is important. If you set this up wrong and you buy in the limited company when you should be buying in personal name, or buying personal name, you should be buying in a limited company, that's a mistake that's going to cost tens of thousands of pounds over the ownership of that property. So yeah, to get some proper advice on that is the most important thing. That's
solid advice. I know you're saying get advice, but that's solid advice given.
Yeah. Well, it's important, isn't it? It's the age we live in. It's very easy to jump on Google for 15 minutes and then say that you know it all. So yeah, to get some advice from a professional who does this day in, day out, and can and work out exactly what you need to do is by far the best thing to do.
Yeah, 100%. Right, lovely. Thank you for that. Cool. We're coming to the end of our chat, which is always good to see you. Have one last bed bug. Because we've all been so busy, we haven't been able to get a Christmas beer in yet.
Do you know?
Have we not? I don't know. I can't even remember.
Keep in one, don't we?
If it makes you feel better, I've had 3 every day since about Christmas, so I'm happy for you, if anything.
Well done. Well done. We'll have to get something in soon. But yeah, so guys, if you've got any questions whatsoever, mortgage related or not mortgage related, you know who you can talk to. We'll tag everyone in the comments. Yeah, feel free to pop us a message. And yeah, Ellen, any last words of wisdom? Nice plants in the background, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, this is a new one. Oh, everything's mirrored. Got a new one over there. Last words of wisdom. I think just get some advice early on. I speak to a lot of people at the beginning of their search and ask them about their finances, mortgage, and they go, yeah, I've had a look online, I know what I can get. And that is it's a minefield out there, as you can see. No two situations are the same. So yeah, get some advice from someone who can look at everything, not just the person you bank with.
I'm getting a lot more inquiries from self-employed at the moment, so that it's been fairly quiet for self-employed over the last maybe 7 or 8 months or so. But had maybe 4 or 5 early stage conversations with self-employed people this week, so that really seems to be picking back up. Probably linked to the fact that the most recent tax year is just finished, so maybe people are showing more positive books than they were previously due to COVID. So that seems to be picking up, and again, that's another massive area where advice is the most important thing, as mortgage lenders' criteria on self-employed people at the moment is crazy. So still massively different to where we were pre-COVID. So yeah, self-employed, it's picking back up. Good news. Yeah, get some advice to find out exactly where you stand.
I mean, look, we're all self-employed. That's a really interesting topic, to be fair, and we'll discuss that next time around, because I think I got you to speak to one of my sellers earlier, and they were sort of part self-employed, part PAYE. It's all a minefield. It's a complete minefield.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, with limited company directors, you've got personal tax year-end dates, company year-end dates, you've got salary, dividends, share of net profit, retained profit. You've got so many things that mortgage lenders will use to calculate your income. And yeah, this lady said, I don't know where to start. I thought, well, why would you? Like, this is how much I earn. Get me a mortgage. And mortgage lenders will say, no, hold on, I want X, Y, and Z. It's impossible.
We'll talk about that on our next stream, and we'll dedicate some time to that. It's definitely worth chatting to. I think Ellen's cat wants to get in the picture. She's been bugged, so attend to me. Right, lovely. Cheers, guys. Appreciate that. Thank you for tuning in if you got this far, and we'll see you next month.
Yeah, nice to see you both. Thanks, everyone.
Likewise. Bye.